Hello, my name is Zach Littleton, and this is my presentation on email expectations across generations. So, the first person I interviewed was my dad, who is part of Generation X. He is a project manager at HR Green, which is a civil engineering company in downtown Denver. And he's been working in engineering for over 20 years. And something that he has recently started doing is evaluating potential new hires. So he looks through tons and tons of emails a day. So his thoughts about emails when I asked him about it. Said one of the most important things that he like begs people to do is reread their emails to check for errors. Countless times he's seen a new hire and they just have had so many spelling and grammar issues to where they just throw them out the door. And another a big no-no for him is do not have any unnecessary information. Get to the point, which we've studied a lot in this course. Like he doesn't want any of the fluffy stuff. Just come on, tell me what you want. And then he also said if the email has to be long, just because there's lots of content, make sure to include headers for an easier read. This way he can just get through it faster. Doesn't necessarily have to reread everything, but that's just him. And lastly, he said if something is really important, he prefers people just talk to him in person. That's his preferred way of communication. Now, the next person I interviewed is a baby boomer, and she is my current boss. So her official position is arts enrichment coordinator, and she monitors all art departments at my rec center. And so I asked her, "What are your thoughts about emails?" And she said, like, most important thing is make sure the email is easy to read. And again, no misspelled words or major grammatical errors. That seems to be a trend. And then a big important thing for her was just respond to her emails. Do not ignore them. She doesn't care if you think she's gonna not want to hear what you have to say. She says just respond. And she says include any relevant information. She hates when people assumes that she knows everything. She just wants to know as much as possible. And she actually said email was her preferred form of communication. So, when comparing the interviews, obviously the thing that they had most in common was checking the email for errors. Like, make sure that that's okay. But a few things that they disagreed on. The first was the amount of information in the email and why that might like differ between the two is I think my boss has more patience than my dad, so she's willing to read a little more through than my dad, who's always busy. And that goes into the next point, the seriousness of the job. Like, no offense to my boss, but I don't think arts is as important as civil engineering. So I get that she has more time to read through. Well, my dad is just very to the point. And then the second thing that differed between them is how to get in touch. And I think that has to do with how busy work is. Like the art department isn't really that busy, but my dad said he's busy almost all the time. So that's why he prefers scheduled meetings instead of just having to go through emails. And the serious of the job, again, his day revolves around going to meetings and talking with people. So if you schedule a meeting, it'll be easier. But for my art boss, who's just chilling all day, it's like, yeah, email me whenever and I'll get to you. And that's why she really values responses. But anyway, that was my presentation. Thank you for listening.